Hi, Romesh Srivastav here, Editor-in-Chief SightsIn Plus. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Please do subscribe this for the HR news, for HR updates, and conversation with the top-notch CHROs. The agenda for today's discussion is the layoffs in IT industry. And to discuss in detail, today we have distinguished HR leaders. Let me introduce Mr. Alok Nigam. He is Group CHRO at Bhartiya Group, and Ms. Usha Chirayil. She is the Director HR at Reflections Infosys. Alok, so if I come to you first, so
Yeah,
if you look at the data right now, what is available, so globally around 1,40,000 employees they have lost their job in 2022. I'm talking about
that's
the tech
right.
and IT industry only. If you look at 2023, in last 3 months, even till the 24th March 2023, so around 1,52,000 employees they have lost their job in this year till 24th March globally. Accenture has also announced, while announcing the second quarter result, that the company is going to lay off around 19,000 employees. And most of the employees that would be on bench as of now, on non-billable employees. There are
Mhm.
also the hiring that would be also muted for the third quarter. So what this indicates for the IT industry, what is your opinion on this?
I think this was going to come. Um, the sector has seen significant growth, I would say, in last few years, and especially in last 3-4 years, and then the COVID happened, and companies actually responded by ramping up hiring, and people also flock to the industry for whatever benefits and flexible working environment that is there in the industry. uh, I think this optimism continued as the pandemic eased out, and the sector and the world began reopening. But fast forwarded to today now. And you also have to see, where is the world economy today. We are facing inflation. There is a threat of global recession. There is a war happening. So I would say, much of what we are seeing with these layoffs and retrenchments is actually, technology companies are resetting and readjusting their growth projections. Um, I was reading somewhere that one could say that tech was unique going into COVID, but not coming out of it. And the companies which have experienced tremendous growth have moved into a different kind of different stage of the maturity, I would say. This maturity is not reflected in the overall scheme of things for these companies as the business grow, because the challenge of running a profitable business model, sustainable business model, has actually finally caught up with them. And some of these companies have realized that their fundamental basic business model or their value capture model is not working out. So it's double whammy. One is, of course, the hiring which went up during COVID time, and some after COVID also, and then um, whatever has happened in the world, geopolitical, global recession, and recently this banking crisis, inflation, rising interest has also put a big question mark on at least a few more, let's say, quarters, the sustenance of tech industry, VAV, the layoffs that we are seeing. Uh, I think it is challenging time, and uh, the better we sooner we get out of it, better it is for our people.
Right, right. Usha, you have been earlier also with IT companies, and currently you are also associated with the IT companies as well. What is your opinion on this? How do you anticipate the situation?
Frankly, for an IT company, this season of layoffs is not very unexpected. I think most of the American based firms are used to a cyclical nature of the hiring and a need for layoffs. Many of the larger typically have an annual exercise related to performance management where they, in quotes, cut away some of the flab if a person has not been equipped with the required, they are let go of. If their performance does not match up to benchmarks, they are let go of. And the percentages could vary anywhere from 2 to 5%. Now, in this scenario where the entire world is talking about the need for optimizing headcounts, many of the big techs are announcing large-scale layoffs. But it is not something new. It is something that we have seen in multiple cycles across the decades. Perhaps what is slightly disconcerting is the sheer scale, the numbers that you quoted, 1 lakh. In some reports, there are estimates of even 2 lakh people being affected this year. Invariably, there would be a cycle where many of them either pick up smaller tech companies or decide to reskill or move across. So while it is unexpected and unfortunate, it's also almost the nature of the beast where things like this are expected. And like Alok mentioned, when the work from home scenario was there, the huge pressure on need for technology, tech-related and ancillary service industries, the sheer volume of hiring was at very, very high pace. Even 100% growth rates were not uncommon, just in terms of the headcount. And obviously, when the need for business came down, it followed the same cycle of the need to optimize headcounts. And that's what we are living through right now. But like a phase, it is not the doomsday predictions that are coming up. It is the IT industry in India has seen many such shocks, and I'm sure it can weather it, but it will definitely be a grim phase for those people who are affected currently.
So the Accenture has also announced that 50% of its layoff out of these 19,000 employees, the 50% that would be non-billable employees, those who are not currently on the client project. So how do you understand with this non-billable?
I'm not very familiar with the Accenture policy, but many of the IT companies have a defined duration on bench, which means people get 2 months, 3 months, or maybe a max of 6 months to be on the bench where they're not billed to the client. They might be working on internal projects or on some other hobby projects, or they might even be upskilling. But after that window period, whatever it is, since they are not bringing in any revenue for the company no longer wants to foot their bill. So they say whatever be the outer limit of time, since they are no longer contributing to the revenue, they are encouraged to look out. And those are typically the people who are the first to be affected by any announcement of a layoff.
And in last month, I think some of the employees, freshers actually, those who joined the company recently, they were let off because they failed the verification, they failed the background verification. I would not like to name the companies. There are 2-3 companies. So what is this? Is there any new practice? It has been happening into this IT industry from the ages.
I think the scale has changed, but the background verification as a process is well established. And anyone who doesn't meet the credentials, if they submitted any credentials, be it with respect to their marks or with their experience, if they don't meet it and the background verification company finds a gap, then it's a normal practice to ask them to leave. Because there is a declaration that every employee signs when they're applying for a job that whatever they are claiming to possess, be it a certification, be it a skill or marks or education, or even the reason for leaving, all of them need to be the true fact. Now, if the background verification company were to come across a situation where there is a gap, most companies give them a chance to explain what that gap is. For minor infractions, like people are coded based on the degree of gap between what they said and what is. For minor issues, people are normally given a second chance. But for major ones, where there's a huge gap in what they said they were, especially with regard to passing of education certifications, then they would typically be asked to leave.
So recently, we have also seen into the media that this your BFSI sector, the banking, financial services, and insurance sector, that is also on hit as of now. Some of the US and European banks, that is like Silicon Valley, Signature Bank. So these the banks have shut down. If you look at the IT industry, especially in India, so this is the largest vertical for the IT industry in India that is around 30% to 50% of the revenue for the business, if we talk about. How do you see this situation, and how do you decipher the impact of this global banking crisis on the IT industries, Mr. Alok?
I think, yeah, you are right, Ramesh. Your data. I was also reading some data some time back. Close to about $300 billion is the BFSI revenue for Indian tech companies. That's right. What we are seeing in let's say Signature Valley Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and then that Credit Suisse. This is actually roiling the global markets now. We may not know the magnitude of it as of now, but yes, initial blow is definitely there, and it's visible now. We have seen the globally also we have seen the banking stocks are under pressure. Even though the world is guarded while figuring out whether the current crisis in some banks will spill over to the entire industry, it would be too early to say. But should that tragedy happens in the BFSI sector, then the effect on the technology sector and Indian technology sector, which is almost all the big techie firms of India, which are catering to the BFSI world globally, will have a hit. But one should realize that relationships of banks with technology companies have also grown manifold over the years. And let's say going digital being the in thing, most banks are fast tracking their, let's say, digital transformation, especially post let's say COVID. The spends will come down, no doubt about it, if the banking crisis, the signs of which we are seeing now, the IT spend of these of the banking sector. It's actually time for Indian tech companies also to widen their horizon. We have in past 10 to 12 years, some of the biggies and even more than that, some of the big tech companies of India have sort of overemphasized on the BFSI sector globally, and too many eggs in one basket is always threatening. It's high time that Indian tech industry also has to look at widening their horizon beyond BFSI sector. There are many other sectors in which Indian tech companies can enter with the kind of talent we have, the kind of infrastructure that we have developed. But as of now, yes, with the looming banking crisis, and if it spreads faster, if it's spread sporadically, we will have to take a hit because the IT spends of the banking companies, insurance companies, etc., will definitely.
And Usha, how do you decipher the impact of this global banking crisis on the IT industry in India?
I've been also speaking to friends in the industry, and they are also affected in two ways. The common impact is, of course, a reduction in the spends. And like you mentioned, 30 to 50% is a huge amount of impact that the company bears. But there is also a small section who are under pressure in their home markets and who are therefore getting a pressure to create an offshore development center in India or to have more business coming out of India to help them optimize their costs. So while overall the picture is grim and there is definitely a reduction in the short-term revenues, there is also a small hint of opportunity because some of them under pressure in the US market come up with centers in India because we offer equally good technology at much more competitive prices. So there's a small glimmer that we will grow in the long term.
And also, how do you see the coming quarter in India for the IT industries? Do you see the layoffs in coming quarter? Maybe based on any reason that maybe the global banking crisis or overhiring.
The immediate next quarter seems to be just a follow-on of the last one, where there is uncertainty, there is an impact on hiring, and there are reports that the person referred to as Dr. Doom, who predicted the 2008 crisis, has again predicted that this is going to be a longer phase and we cannot expect things to improve immediately. So it is with cautious optimism that we proceed because we know it will not change overnight. And this is going to be a phase that probably lasts at least 2 more quarters before things brighten.
And Mr. Alok, how do you anticipate, how do you understand the layoffs in IT industry in coming quarters?
I completely agree with Usha that there is nothing which is going to change overnight. Looking at the global crisis, the spends will not IT spends will not go up in let's say next 2 to 3 quarters, and in the banking crisis also spreads. And then the geopolitical situation today, the war is just not ending. So next 2 to 3 quarters, there is nothing going to change. We will have to live with that. We will have to hope, pray that things improve, but it will definitely improve. There is no doubt that, especially with the Indian technology sector, the kind of talent we have, and at the competitive, prices that we do the business with the world, sooner or later, we stand to come back with full throttle, I would say.
So there is also another report, and according to this report, I'm talking about the Indian IT companies. They have announced, or you can say this is only a report. I'm not very sure. This is announced by the companies, or this is only a report based on some survey. Around 40% hiring that is going to be reduced in this financial 2024. How do you say this? What is your opinion on this? And if you can also bifurcate into the campus hire and lateral hire, how do you see the impact on campus hiring and lateral hiring?
It is unfortunate, but true that definitely on campus, there's going to be a slowdown in terms of the sheer volume of hiring that used to happen in the past versus now. So people will have to accordingly cater down their expectations of either being hired fast. There could be delays in the onboarding of new joiners from campus, unless people pick up some niche certifications which make them stand out from the rest. In terms of lateral hiring, again, the pace of hiring comes down because nobody is going to hire and keep them on bench in anticipation of a project that comes up. Every single headcount is counted. So the bench management is going to be absolutely important in the overall health of the company. So both hiring will come down. But I think campus hiring will be more affected because people will wait till they have sight of what kind of business is coming before they hire on a larger scale. Like we all know, in most of the IT companies, the bench management and the fresher hiring is very closely linked to the demand forecast. And unless there is clear visibility on what is coming up, and unless the overall economy improves, this picture is going to be grim for the next year.
Mr. Alok, how do you see the hiring part? There would be 40% cut. What is your figure? You have the figure in your mind?
If business comes down, if business is not happening, why will a company employ, keep on bench, not bill to the client, and bear the I mean, it's a hard fact. It's a crude fact that companies cannot allow their fixed expenditures to go on. So yes, I think more than lateral, campus hiring will be more. What happens in India, if you see young boys and girls today, especially those who are attempting competitive exams for engineering colleges, which courses you want to take? If you ask them, computer science, information technology. Now boys and girls who opted for computer science and technology 3 years back are coming for a rude shock, because first, the interviews will not happen. If it happens, offers will be delayed. If the offers are made, joining will be delayed. They are actually, it's apart from this hard fact, there is a psychological thing also which boys and girls of the engineering colleges will have to face. So yes, campus hiring will take a big hit, unless, as Usha said, the people go for some niche skills, and those niche skills are today, billable niche skills in today's scenario. While you can go for certification, but if that certification today is not making relevance to the business, that's also a challenge. So yeah, this is definitely going to be challenging times for tech hiring.
And what is your opinion on this 40% cut on the hiring? This will 40%, or this go more than 40%? This go on higher percentage?
I don't think it will go beyond 40%. It all depends on how next 1 or 2 quarters really shape up. Today, I was talking to someone who is a lateral hire from a large tech company to another large tech company, and she was to join today in NCR, Noida, and I asked her, what is the status of your joining today? Have you joined? Has the joining formalities being completed? She said, no, uncle. There are 250 people who are joining today, so it will take some more time. So I was happy that in this scenario also, on one given Monday, 250 people are joining that large tech company. So there is also a ray of hope that if economy swings back, global recession doesn't go far, it may not be even 40%.
I think we should wait for 10 to 15 days more. Things should be more clear when these Indian IT companies, they will start announcing their
going to campus.
Fourth quarter results.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
So yes. In the mid of April, I think things for the I'm talking about TCS, Infosys, this Wipro. So the things should be more clear that what the real situation is here in India as of now.
There's also the impact of attrition, because typically some of the freshers are hired as attrition backfills, at least in the large projections. And since attrition levels have come down, therefore, again, the demand for these freshers also has come down.
Absolutely, the attrition is easing up. Even in Accenture's report, that is 30% for this quarter. Earlier, it was 20%. That is easing up, definitely. Anything else? I think we tried to cover related to this subject, everything. So, anything which is important and we did not discuss, would like to share?
I think one aspect that we often forget is the impact it has on a brand. Right now, some of the big names are affected because of the way they callously announce huge cuts in their headcount. So many people will hesitate before joining such companies who don't handle their layoffs well. Whereas in some companies, it is handled sensitively and people are aware that it was the last possible choice where people could not get reskilled or redeployed in other groups, that this choice is made. So there's a huge impact on the way a employer brand is also perceived in the way they handle these layoffs, because it is a fact of industry that there will be cycles and there is a need at times as a last resort to have people let go. But the way they handle it will also remain in the minds of people and the way they speak about the company.
Right. Any your final comment, Mr. Alok?
Yeah, taking out of what Usha said, I think companies. I mean, it's time for empathy, trust, care, and transparency on part of tech companies, especially global tech companies, where we have seen some of the callous approach, the way they have handled these layoffs. I think transparency, trust, care, and empathy will definitely be one factor we should be looking at. We should be watching closely.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Alok and Ms. Usha, for joining the conversation and sharing your wonderful thoughts on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Usha.
Thank you.